People always say, oh, you were so brave to quit your engineering job and follow your dreams. I'm like, no. I was let go and I was pissed off. Like that's what happened, right? Got rid of all of my belongings and put them in storage and started living in a tent. I signed up for belly dancing classes. Shortly thereafter, I got the chance to get on stage to substitute for my teacher one night. And then they paid me money. And I was like, you're kidding me. And I had, 40 paying members a month. And I wasn't doing anything. You need a membership. And I said, what's a membership? Just do it and do it as messy as you possibly can.
That was Alesha, 26 years teaching belly dance. And today, she's going to talk about how she went from getting let go and living in a tent to a membership people stay in for years, and how the collab that turned her own members into a music video shot on rooftops worldwide. And near the end, I show her the exact move to reach thousands of the right people with no ad spend. Let's get into it. Alesha, welcome to the studio.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much for having me. This is really awesome to be here.
Well, I am excited to talk to you because you have been growing your membership business for quite some time. And in our early discussion, I highlighted immediately some points that you're doing that I think everybody could learn from. And not only could they learn from, but they could immediately start doing to grow their business. But before we get into that, let's first talk about what is your business? Can you give us an overview?
Yes. So my primary business is that I teach people to find more confidence, creativity, and health through the beautiful art of belly dance.
Okay. So is this for belly dance teachers or for anybody that wants to learn belly dance?
This is for anyone and everyone who wants to learn belly dance. And I'll tell you, the majority of my members are women, and they're mostly women from 30 to 70 years old. And these are women who are not going to be professional belly dancers. They're not going to go dance at the hookah bar. They're not going to go dance at the nightclub. They are just doing it because it's a really fantastic way to stay in shape, to be creative, to keep moving, and to express themselves.
Ah, okay. So it is primarily for people that just want to learn it for fun.
Yes, totally.
Okay. And so how did you get into belly dancing?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. Well, I majored in chemistry and environmental engineering.
Oh, I definitely see the connection.
And then I became a belly dancer. When I graduated from Rice with my engineering degree, I was going to this club on Tuesdays that had a show called Gothic Belly Dance. And I loved it. I was fascinated. And so when I started working as an engineer, I said, I need something creative. I used to do theater and music. So I signed up for belly dancing classes. And it was one of those, I fell down the rabbit hole. I took one class a week, then I took 2 classes a week, then I was there for 3 classes a week. And then shortly thereafter, I got the chance to get on stage to substitute for my teacher one night at a nightclub. And I've never been so nervous in my life. And I got up on stage and I had so much fun. And then they paid me money. And I was like, you're kidding me. Are you serious? And shortly thereafter that, never in a million years would I have said, you know what, I'm not going to engineer anymore. I'm going to belly dance instead because I'm far too practical for that. Yeah. But several months later, I was let go from my job in a really ugly way. And I told myself I will never work for another person again. And so I was like, what can I do? And I had made, a handful of dollars belly dancing. I was like, this would be great.
Wow.
And that's how I started. And it was a rough several years. I, got rid of all of my belongings and put them in storage and started living in a tent. And I did Renaissance festivals and that kind of thing for a while to get started. But here I am. That was 26 years ago and I'm still doing it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. So a couple things I want to unpack. Number one, that moment of being let go from your engineering job. Mm-hmm. And in that moment deciding I could either go left or I could go right. And they're 2 totally different paths. One path would have been okay, go find another job in the same industry. But that you chose the path, which was I love this belly dancing thing. I have no idea if I can make it, but I'm gonna go for it. What's going through your mind in that moment?
I think I was really mad. I think I was really pissed
So you're doing
off.
it out of spite almost.
In a way, because I was I cannot even imagine going. I loved my job. I really enjoyed the engineering work I did. It was fantastic. But I was so angry and I was I can't go and work in someone else's office right now. I just can't do it. And I thought, at the time I was 23, I thought, if I'm going to try to be a belly dancer, now's the time. I probably got 5 years of shelf life in me before anybody, they won't pay to watch me dance anymore. And that was a long time ago. And so I thought, let me just give it a try because I've got nothing to lose at this point. I've already lost it all. So, people always say, oh, you were so brave to quit your engineering job and follow your dreams. I'm like, no. I was let go and I was pissed off. That's what happened, right? And so I thought, well, I'll go for it. I'll see what happens. And oddly enough, it panned out.
So talk me through that. You start going down this path, and you said it took a while before you created that stability for yourself. When was the moment when you're like, okay, this can actually be like a real business that I can, pursue?
Yeah, it probably took at least 2 years. Like that first year, I actually, like when I go back and look at my accounts, so that first year I made about $6,000 total dancing at Renaissance festivals. And luckily, when I was back in Houston, I lived with a boyfriend who didn't charge me any rent. And so I had no expenses, right? And after a couple of years of that, I settled back in Houston and started dancing in restaurants and nightclubs. I connected with a troupe there that took me in as a dancer. And soon I was dancing 5 nights a week, sometimes up to 7 shows in a night. And so the first phase of my business was all performance-based.
Okay.
So I would dance at, weddings and nightclubs and birthday parties and was making pretty good money doing that. And I thought, okay, this works. And then it was kind of a natural next thing to start teaching. I would teach a class or 2 a week. But then there came a point, like after I got married and when we decided to have kids, it was a really interesting decision. It was something that I had to come to terms with because not only, obviously, it changes your life having kids. No matter who you are and what your job is, it changes your life. But for me as a professional performing belly dancer, I told my husband, I said, if I don't recover well from this, my performing career is over. It's done. Can I be okay with that? Will we be okay with that? What will this look like? And that's when I leaned in more to the teaching. Luckily, after my daughter was born, I did go back to performing for a bit, but I found I didn't enjoy it the same way because I wanted to be home at night with my family. I didn't want to be out at the hookah bar at midnight surrounded by smoke. I just wanted to be home with my baby. And so that's when I thought, okay, like how can I do more teaching without having to take more classes in the evenings on my schedule?
Was there a market for teaching?
There was a bit of a market. I had been building my classes for several years before my daughter was born. I had a wonderful woman who owned a studio who was like, hey, come teach belly dance at my studio. And she was a great marketing machine. And so she'd bring people in. But at most, I was teaching like 2 or 3 classes a week, which wasn't anything huge.
It's not full-time income.
It's not full-time income at all. But it was really enjoyable. And it helped me kind of build a following in Houston. And I really enjoyed that. And I still teach just 3 classes a week, right? And because the online thing became more intriguing to me because I knew that was something that would scale better.
By the way, everything Alesha shares is already saved in a free kit I put together down in the description. So you can just settle in and enjoy this.
Okay, so let's jump to the online.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, this online thing, I want to explore it, pursue it. What was the first endeavor online?
I vividly remember, okay, there were two things that happened. So back in like 2005, one of my friends said, you know what, you should release a DVD. Yeah. And I was like, I should release a DVD. Like, who am I to release it? When am I going to teach? Like, belly dance is a very old dance. These aren't my moves, And she's like, I don't know, maybe teach like one of your choreographies or something. She was a video production. She had a video production company.
Okay.
So I was like, well, okay. She says, I'll make it for you. It'll be great. I said, okay, great. So in 2005, I released my very first DVD and I taught a choreography that I had created for my troupe. And then I put it online, like on eBay or something, right? And it started selling.
Wow.
Because back in 2005, the style of dance I did, they called it tribal belly dance at the time, wasn't very common and it wasn't on DVD. So people started buying my DVD all over the world. And what happened is they thought I was famous because I was on their TV. And I was like, no, you bought my DVD. That's why I'm on your TV. And so I started getting invitations to go teach at festivals and events around the world, including in Egypt, which was the craziest thing because I was like, this is where the dance is from. Why are you hiring this American to come and teach? But they wanted this form of dance, which was uniquely American. And so then I was like, man, it would be great if I could do more stuff to reach a larger audience online.
Yeah.
And I had one of my students in class said, oh, I just heard about this platform. It was called Powwow, long since defunct, R.I.P. Powwow. But she said, you can do live classes online with it. And so this was, I think, 2013. I signed up right away. I started teaching live classes. It was Tuesday nights and my mom and my aunt and my dad's girlfriend would come to class. And then eventually I got a few other students
the core group.
Exactly. Yeah. They were with me every week. I was like, thanks guys, this is great. And so I started doing that. And after about a year or so on that platform, Powwow said, hey, now with a push of a button, you can record the live class you taught. And I was like, well, why not? So I pushed the button and I recorded the class. And after several weeks, I had dozens of classes recorded and they just saved on the Powwow platform. And I was like, okay, $20 a month. You can have all my recordings. And I didn't know how to tell people. I think I might have had a little mailing list. So I was like, hey, get these videos. And that's what I did for a few years until
and
they
this
went
is
to
because
phone.
I got to put this in perspective for people. This is long before like Zoom
totally.
or like today's technology. So like it was a big deal back then that you, A, were doing live classes online, and B, that those recordings were available inside of essentially a library.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. Let's not talk about like the quality of the connection of those live classes or the number of times I was like, are you guys still there? You're frozen. Can you see me? You're frozen. Or like the recordings that I was like, wow, this is like grainy, pixelated nonsense.
So the
but
belly dance is turning more into like the robotic dancing.
Right, exactly. I was like, well, that's what we got. So this is what we'll go with. But, that's what there was at the time. So, yeah.
Okay, so you're building this library of all these videos. You just decide to start charging $20 a month. How do you start growing the membership? How did you start growing from there?
I don't think I did. I sent an email every once in a while. Hey, you want these videos? It's $20 a month. Yeah. And like a few people would sign up, and I had it open all the time. It was just there. And Powwow actually was also a marketplace.
Okay.
And so people could find me if they went to Powwow and they searched belly dance. There'd be like 4 of us there. Right. And they could pick someone that they wanted to take a class with. So that was great. I'm sure I got some students through that. But that was it. I didn't think anything more of it for a couple of years. And then I had like way too many videos that were just one-off videos. And so I had a student of mine who was kind of helping me out in my business. I said, can we organize these, maybe put them into like groupings or something? And so we started to try to group them by type or subject or something so that they were a little bit easier accessible for people. But we just kept it $20 a month. And every once in a while I'd be like, hey, I got these videos. Check them out if you want.
So how did that strategy work for you?
I mean, it worked in that I think at a high point I had, 40 paying members a month. And I wasn't doing anything. Like at that point, like I didn't even call it a membership because I didn't know what a membership was. It was just this video library. Yeah. So I had that money coming in and I did zero. I did nothing.
I mean, that's like $800 a month.
Yeah. And I did no extra work. I just hit the button when I would teach a live class. That's all I did.
Yeah, because you're doing it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then when did you realize like, hey, there's probably an opportunity here if I, figure out the strategy behind growing this?
Yeah. Well, I had no idea until I met you. Really, actually, I met with Amy Porterfield back in 2021 for a mastermind with her. And I said, look, I've got all these videos and I've got all this content. And she's like, you need a membership. And I said, well, what's a membership? And she explained to me what it was. I said, oh, I already have one of those. It's $20 a month. Right? And so she was like, oh, check out Stu's stuff. And you can make it like, something that's more organized. And I was just like, oh, this is cool. And that's when like the belly dance journey membership was born.
All right. So now you have the realization, okay, there's an opportunity here to be able to grow this further. When you started digging into it, what did you identify were some big opportunities for you?
I think the biggest thing as far as like making the membership better was that any belly dance membership that I have seen, mine included at the time, and anyone that I had kind of checked out, was really just a video library. It was exactly what I had. Here's a bunch of videos. Pay me. You can look at them anytime you want.
And it's on the member to go find the stuff.
Yeah. Just get in there and look around.
Yeah.
And then I remember like the biggest thing was when I joined your membership, just that onboarding process of joining the membership and like, here's what you have. Here's what's to be expected. Here's how you access the things. I was like, oh, wow. And I mean, to this day, I think I'm one of the only, belly dance memberships that does that kind of thing. I'm going to email you every week. You're going to have a new release. You're going to have live classes. So it was kind of the process of, what do I want to include with my membership above and beyond this library of videos, which is very easy to have, that's going to make it easier to digest, better for my students, going to create a great community and make it possible for them to make progress that they feel really good about. And so that's what I really leaned into. I love the idea of making community. I think for a lot of people, doing things online and making it feel authentic and warm and real is really hard because you're working with a camera. For me, it's very easy, and I see that as a blessing. I see that as something that I can use. And so making that community and making people feel welcome, giving people that little extra boost is something that I really love doing. So it's something that I've leaned into as I make content and bring people in and say, hey, this is more than just you and my videos. This is a two-way street. You tell me what you want to learn. I'll make it. Then I'll see you every month, twice a month, and we'll talk about it and we'll dance together.
You mentioned community a couple times and how important it is for you. What have you learned about cultivating a great community?
Oh yeah, I've learned that it's everything. Like you always say, right? They come for the content, they stay for the community, and 100% it's true. Anytime I poll my audience, anytime I poll my members and I say, what is your favorite thing? Or if I were to get rid of everything in the membership and keep one thing, don't panic, I'm not going to, what would it be? And they're like, the community and the live events.
So what makes your community sticky then?
I think it's because we see each other twice a month, right? So we have 2 live classes every single month, and we have a very active Facebook group. So we still do our community on Facebook. We're in there. We do, I'm always encouraging people to share what they're working on. I'm encouraging them to share videos of their practice. We do like challenges and we do like member clubhouses. We actually just
what's a member clubhouse?
Oh yeah. So for years it was just like, hey, let's get together and let's have a cup of coffee. Let's chat. Maybe we'll play a game together. But actually just recently, right after I connected with another person inside TME Plus who does Turkish cooking classes, we did a member clubhouse where she taught us a Turkish cooking class.
Oh, that's cool.
It was so cool. So I was like, okay, everybody, I'm going to see you in your kitchen. And they got the menu in advance. They got all their ingredients. And we spent like an hour and a half in our kitchen.
That is so cool.
Making Turkish food together. And this has opened up a whole new a set of ideas for me. So now we're going to have member clubhouses that are, let's, get a glass of wine, let's chat, and then let's make like a piece of jewelry together. Or let's, do this other kind of craft project. Or let's do something that's adjacent to belly dance that's related, but brings us together in a different way.
I could probably imagine somebody watching like, but Alesha, that has nothing to do with belly dancing. Like, why would people be into that?
Yeah, I think it's just an opportunity to get to know people on a different level. Like the one thing I love about these live classes on, Zoom that we don't get to do in my live classes in the studio in Houston is that I see into everyone's world just a little bit. Like I've met their kids, I've met their grandkids, I've met their pets. Like the cat has shown me their butt on screen multiple times, right? And I'm like, yeah, you've got a cute cat, right? And so I think it's just a chance to get to know people a little bit better. So now I've seen their kitchen, and we've seen how we all, struggle when we try to chop vegetables together, and it just makes you feel like a more integral part of a community. Like it's not just I'm the teacher, you're the student, but like we're learning together. Yeah, we are just humans like hanging out together. And I really like that. I actually had one of my members come to Houston to visit family not that long ago. And I was like, hey, do you want to come to my house for the class that happens that week? Like come to my house. That's where I film the classes in my home studio. She's like, really? I said, yeah, come and we'll dance together. And it was just so cool to like have that connection like outside of the screen, right?
I think there's just huge opportunity for this in-person stuff. Like it's, even when we think about we're here today.
Totally.
Right? Like you're part of our membership. And one of the things that we do is we open it up one time a month, for people to come in and we mastermind during the day. Like there's some other members that are here and then we get to interview, but there's a chance to connect. Like we haven't had a chance to connect in person. And to me, like that deepens our friendship and our relationship in a similar way.
Absolutely. I think it makes it so much more personal, and it's one of those things. I think when you spend time with someone on the screen over and over, I always say, my members are like, I feel like I already know you because they're watching my videos all the time. Right.
Right.
And so that's cool. But then when you get together in person, it gives you the chance to really solidify that connection. And like, I think that's how you make super fans. That's how you make forever friends. And it makes everything much more personal and much less like I'm just one of a whole bunch of members inside this community. Right.
You talked about a couple other things I want to unpack. One is collaborations. So here you have a collaboration with content within the membership. So you connected with somebody and you are creating, Turkish meals, which is super fun for your members. How else have you collaborated with others?
Yeah, so I just finished doing launch for like my smaller membership, which is the Finger Cymbal Revolution, which is all about like the finger cymbals that we play when we dance. And we do a 10-day challenge where we learn the basics of finger cymbals. We learn a brand new choreography. We do a graduation celebration where we all dance the choreography together. And I used music from this wonderful musician. Her name is Miss Thea. She's also a belly dancer and a flute player. And I'm also a flute player. So we've connected with that. And we've met each other at belly dance events in the past. And she makes phenomenal royalty-free music for like dance and yoga teachers to use. And it's great stuff. She has her master's in music and is a wonderful musician. And so I buy all her albums and she lets me use it for anything I want. And it's so valuable to me. And so I used one of her songs for this year's challenge. And I said, hey, come on and be a guest in the challenge. We're going to talk about how you create your music. We're going to talk about how to play finger cymbals musically to a track and how do you do that. And then she said, you know what, I've got this idea. And I was like, ooh, tell me. She has an award-winning YouTube channel that has millions of followers, and she produces music videos for a lot of her songs.
Okay.
And she's like, how about we use the videos that the challenge members create for this year's challenge, and I edit together the official music video for this song.
Wow.
And I was like, you are a genius. And that like sounds like so much fun, because I always encourage people to record their practice.
Yeah.
And I said, this takes it one step above and beyond. And she says, it's not going to be based on like who's the best dancer, the best siller, who has the best costume. I just want people who embody like the joy of this event.
Right.
So we announced it like, day one of the event, because it's just 10 days. I said, if you want to be in the music video, you got to learn the choreography. So, let's get going. And people went nuts. And the videos that were submitted, Stu, oh my gosh, they were so beautiful. One dancer danced like on the roof of a building in downtown Houston. Another dancer was in another country in this beautiful field with the mountains in the background.
Oh my gosh.
Another dancer in front of like a fountain of running water. And she's like, this is impossible to choose just 10. She's like, I can't edit them all together.
Wow.
But it really created a hubbub. It created a stir. And then, of course, she got a lot of new, traction and followers, because people are tagging her in their videos. And then people were buying her music because they loved it. And she's in the process now of editing together that video for her channel, which is so exciting.
It's amazing on so many levels. Like the way in which each of you have brought something to the mix, and that collaboration has created a bunch of opportunity for both of you.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really fun.
I think it's amazing. Okay, so for somebody watching and listening, the seed has been planted for collaborations. What advice would you give? Because you've done multiple collaborations in different ways. Obviously, it's a part of what you're doing. What have you learned about collaborations that would make it more effective for others?
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in a rising tide floats all boats. I think a lot of times we get nervous about challenging or being competition for someone else. I often think, well, who can I collaborate with? I'm not going to collaborate with another belly dance teacher. I'm their competition. And we're not really each other's competition. Like, we all have our own unique angles to play with. And so I think finding people who are adjacent to what you do, finding people that do what you love to do, but they do it in a way that's different than how you do it. And I think it's just really flattering to reach out to someone and say, hey, I love what you do. Like, how can we do this together?
Yeah.
Right. And if they say no, that's on them. But I feel like anyone who's worth their weight as a teacher is going to say, okay, what can come from this? And I'm always just looking for things that will help my members dive deeper into their practice, or just get really excited about what they're doing and feel really good about what they're doing.
Yeah.
And so opening my mind to things even beyond the dance that will help them be, a better performer, a better dancer, a more confident person is all fair.
Well, I think of the two that you just shared. Like, one is, cooking, collaboration, and another one is a collaboration with music. Like, there's overlap, certainly, but they're also different, And so what I love is that you've opened your mind to bringing in other opportunities for your members and for yourself. And I think it's just super fun to hear how those collaborations are playing out.
Yeah, it's cool because we're all human beings, and we have, multiple interests and multiple facets to each of our personalities. And I think the more connections we make, like, I'm not connected to you only through belly dance or only through these little finger cymbals. Like, I'm connected to you now because I've been in a music video with you,
right.
Or I'm connected to you now because we've cooked a meal together. Like, that's really powerful.
Okay, so collaborations have been a big hit. What else has been effective for you to welcome more members into your membership?
I think reaching out to diverse segments of the population. I've really leaned into the fact that I've really gotten to know like who my customer is, right?
Okay.
And I think a lot of times, we were our own best customer at the beginning. And now I've come to realize that a lot of the ladies in my membership are older. Like me, right? We are all like, it's not like a 20, 30 something who's going to, go dance at the nightclub. These are women with grandkids. These are women who are retired. These are women who are going through hip surgery and body changes, and leaning into that and not shying away from it. For years, I was like, gosh, how do I market to like older women without ever saying the word older?
Yeah, you don't want to insult them, but at the same time.
But the truth is, we're all 40s, 50s, 60s plus. And I think being willing to just create the content that recognizes that, I've definitely, and I think it actually got easy for me at one point, because I did have someone like troll me online and say, hey, aren't you a little old for this? And then I could make I was like, oh, you got me going. Right. So I made all this content about like, are you ever too old to belly dance that got a lot of traction because, number one, the answer is no. And number two, like that pisses a lot of people off.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's great emotion. And so just talking to that and saying, hey, you don't have to be Princess Jasmine to come and dance. In fact, no one in my membership is, right? And so like, I think being very real about who can belly dance, spoiler alert, everyone, and just like leaning into that and letting people feel welcome. I think another thing I try to do is showcase my members. I have a member showcase actually this weekend, and I invite other people who are on my mailing list who are maybe considering the membership to come and watch because it's not what they think it's going to be. It's not going to be a bunch of pro dancers doing like amazing things on stage. It's going to be a bunch of very real people doing what they love to do right now in this moment. And they're going to see all levels. They're going to see all ages. They're going to see all abilities. And people are just enjoying their body. They're enjoying the movement. And so I've been trying to really showcase that and completely rip away any facade of like perfection, because that's not what it is. Like we are just here really enjoying this cultural dance. We're here getting to know how our bodies move. We're here feeling really good about ourselves no matter where we are. And we celebrate that every stage of learning, every stage of ability. We celebrate that inside the membership.
I would imagine that there's an element of vulnerability that needs to happen inside of a membership like this. When somebody's learning these movements for the first time, they're probably a little hesitant to like share anything because they don't want to, quote, look dumb. How have you created a safe environment where people feel comfortable sharing?
Yes, this is huge for me. And so we have our Facebook community, which is small. My membership is not huge. We have a small, very, tight-knit Facebook community. And I always invite people to share a video of their practice. Or I say share a post-practice photo of you glistening, or share, a picture of your finger cymbals when you've done practicing, right? And then I encourage them more and more. And I always say we are here to embrace the suck, right? Because to get good at something, you got to suck first. And if you're not sucking at it, then you're not learning. So like just take a video and post the first one. This is when we did this during the challenge. I said, please do not take 20 videos to post the best one. Post the first one. And people would. They're like, here it is. I totally screwed it up. And everyone's like, you're amazing. That was fantastic. And so I had several people this time around say, I have done this challenge 3 years in a row and I've never, ever posted a video. Here's my first.
Wow.
And people would like dive in and give them so much love, right? Because we're not here to like be perfect. I even tell my members, perfection is not a thing. It doesn't exist. Don't even try. It's futile, right? We're just here to enjoy the learning process. And so I think through modeling that, through seeing other people do it, I said, when you post, you'll inspire someone else to do the same. So just go for it. And so I think that becomes powerful. I see people in the live classes maybe attend several with their cameras off. And I'm like, that's fine. That's totally cool. But if you want to turn it on, and they see other people and they're like, oh, well, she looks a little lost too. Maybe it's okay if I turn my camera on, right? And so it's just encouraging everyone to just be who they are and knowing that that is perfect. They're right where they need to be.
Well, I love how you and your community celebrate your members. No matter, where they are in their journey, that's a huge part of it, is that people, feel seen and heard and acknowledged and safe to be able to share. Like they're not going to be criticized and made fun of. It's actually the opposite. It's like encouraged that this is the beginning of their journey. You have grown a tremendously successful business. Number one, you should be super proud. Like when I hear of your beginnings and like sleeping in tents, and figuring it out and getting to the point now where you've got like this beautiful community, you've got, this incredible business. You should be really, really proud. I want to ask you, like, as you're looking for the next phase or the next chapter, what's going through your mind now in terms of like, okay, what's next for this membership?
Yeah. So I really love what I've built, and I feel really strongly about my teaching ability, the content that I have online. It's massive. What I've created, it's, easily like 15 years of teaching material that's there, and it's organized and it's ready and it's waiting for people. And I was blessed to launch it in 2021, right at the height of the pandemic. It was amazing. I'll admit, I have to admit, I remember, February of 2020 and seeing it all come down the pipeline. I was like, you know what? I'm going to be fine. I have all these online classes. I already know how to teach on Zoom. I already have a setup for it. I didn't miss a beat. I didn't skip a single class. I never did. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank goodness for my online offerings, right? And then that year, everything just took off. And I was like, I have figured it all out. This is incredible, right? I was like, this is fantastic. And it hit a peak. And then it kind of went down a little bit, and now it's maintaining. It does, this all the time. And I'm like, okay, now that live classes are back, right? People get a little Zoom fatigue. Maybe they don't want to be online as much. They have the ability to go back to in-person classes. There's definitely still a place that, online is not going away for sure, but the demand is different. And I feel like I haven't quite figured out how to shift to find the people who need what I have, because what I have is powerful. And I know what I have can really help people. And so it's just finding, it used to be everyone who wanted to belly dance needed me or needed someone who was online. And that's not the case anymore. And so it's kind of reaching out to those communities, to those people who can't learn where they are because there are no offerings or the community is not the right community for them, or people who need just that little extra boost because maybe they're older and maybe they've had knee replacement surgery and they're struggling, but they want to dance and maybe the local studio doesn't really cater to that. I do. And it's just kind of finding them and bringing them in.
Well, I think there's a huge opportunity like for you to lean on skills that you've already, developed, like your collaboration skills. Like when I think about it, like I ask myself, okay, if I'm looking to grow a membership, is it a traffic problem? Is it a conversion problem? Is it a retention problem? My guess, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but my guess is that for you, it's probably a traffic problem. Like if you were to just get in front of more people, you'd have more people join the membership. Would that be accurate?
I think so. I've been looking at this recently, kind of prepping to come here today. And I was like, traffic for sure is huge. I think I could boost my conversions too, would be phenomenal. But yeah, if I could just get in front of more people, the right people, right? And get them to like come in. I've got all these great little freebies to give them a taste of me. I'm like, I think they'll love me, but they just got to find me first, right?
Well, and I think about that. And I think about your skill already in forming like incredible collaborations. Now you've formed collaborations primarily around content, right? Like content that you're creating with other, collaborators for your members. But I wonder if there's an opportunity to collaborate from a promotional standpoint where, there's an opportunity where somebody's already got your audience. And, if we were to sit and do a brainstorm on like all the different, sub groups and parties that could benefit from having you in front of their audience, I bet we'd be able to create a big old list pretty quickly. And I could see a world where you are collaborating with people from a promotional standpoint and they're driving traffic for you. It's a strategy I call borrowed influence. But for you and for what you're already doing, I think it'd be a home run because you've already got that, collaboration muscle. It's already a part of, what you do. I think it's just a matter of shifting it more toward the promotional side.
Yeah, I love it. And I think what I have to offer is something I could offer to anyone, right? Like it's not something so niche that another person who might have my audience wouldn't be interested in, like, how about a little belly dance lesson? Like, let me show some people some moves, and it's really fun. It's something that's very inviting. I love the idea and definitely would love to explore.
Because I think of like my wife, for example. So my wife has her own mastermind and they're always looking, it's for women entrepreneurs, and they're always looking for like fun activities to do together. She would 100%. I could see you collaborating with Amy and teaching a little lesson. And now you're in front of like her group and her audience. And that's a simple example. But like, I think of all the people in our community who have audiences of your demographic that would be perfect. And it's just about finding those fun, creative ways where you could be of service to them and their audience. And then likewise, you're getting that exposure to all these different audiences.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Like I have always thought of collaborations and I think about, fairly adjacent. But yeah, if the population is the people who tend to enjoy what I do, like it doesn't matter why they've gathered. It just matters that they've gathered.
One of our community members, his name is Blake. Awesome guy. And Blake and I have since become good friends. He primarily built his business as a speaker, speaking at high schools and colleges. But he started a family with his beautiful wife, Emily, and he didn't want to be on the road all the time. So he wanted to make a shift. And so he was looking for ideas. And so we were, jamming and chatting about it. And I said to him, dude, you just got to start sharing like the creative strategies that you do to develop relationships, because he's very, very good at that, with other people. He's like, but how do I get in front of those people? And so I said, right now, you're getting paid to be an MC. So he'll get paid to come and MC an event. And I said, what if instead of getting paid one time, you ask the host for an exchange? You do it for free in exchange for 10 minutes of teaching time in front of the audience. And at the end of the teaching time, you direct people to a freebie where you could build your list. So he did that. And he did it in front of an audience of about 2,500 people that paid to be part of this program. So they were like very hot prospects. And he taught for 10 minutes, drove people to a freebie. He built a list of 400 plus buyers like that. And so that's how quickly and easily it can be done. We just got to shift our thinking in terms of like how we can be of value to somebody else, but at the same time, like use it as an opportunity to be able to collaborate with people.
I love that. I think it's just thinking outside of the normal circle of influence, right? I know so many belly dancers, but you think, well, I'm not going to go promote to other belly dancers' audiences, but that's not where I'm going to find my people. Yeah,
exactly. That's exactly it. Well, this has been super fun. As we wrap up, what would be like one idea that you would want to leave people with if they're sitting on an idea and they're just thinking about pursuing it as a business, but they're hesitating? What would you say to them?
Oh my gosh, just do it and do it as messy as you possibly can. Like this is how I've done everything. I feel like I'm like, well, let me just try this and see how it works. Because I think it's a lot easier to throw something out there, see what happens and tweak it, than try to like master plan the perfect thing, get all uptight about it, and then put it out there. And then maybe it still doesn't work, right? And you're back to tweaking it anyway. So I think messy progress is very empowering because then you can just try things and you're not worried about it being right. You're just giving it a try. And I love that. It's just kind of a fun experiment. And a lot of times when it's online and you're just putting something out there, it doesn't cost you anything but your time. And you're going to learn something from the process. So it's always worth it.
Great advice. Okay. Where can people go to connect with you?
Yes, you can find me online. My website is sahirabellydances.com and all my stuff is there. I'm on all the socials as Sahira Belly Dances.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. It's been awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much, Stu. This has been great.
What a story, right? If Alesha changed how you think about community and reaching the right people, wait until next week. We got two sisters who franchised their kids' craft clubs to 61 locations. Then they lost it all when COVID hit, and then they rebuilt it as a membership in 91 countries. I break down exactly how they did it. So subscribe so you don't miss it. Oh, and grab Alesha's full playbook. It's free in the description. We'll see you soon.